Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today is Throat Punch Thursday.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Who's ready?
It's Throat Punch Thursday, bitch.
Oh, that is hilarious. All right, folks. Well, hey, Craig DeLuz here once again, coming to you live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, live from Sacramento, California, on The Rundown, talking about the news of the day. Now, Mike is going to be, well, he's not going to be with us for a few weeks. He's taking some time off. He's going to be doing a little traveling and having a good time. So it's just going to be us. So I'm going to be counting on each and every one of you to participate in the conversation. Let us know what's up. You know, I always look forward to when you do comment. Just so you know, I'm watching right over here. Right over here, I got all the things set up so I can see what you folks have to say. And if I find it to be interesting, I will share it. And if I don't, I won't. But just so you know, the most interesting comments are the ones that you actually share. Where you disagree, because when you disagree with us, it gives us the opportunity to mock you.
Oh wow, was that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
That's right. As Mike would say, we will mock you. Anyway, good times. We're having a good time here. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the show. And you know how we usually do it. We usually start off with a quick shout out to our sponsors. And we'll start with Hitman Industries. Hitman Industries makes rifle and pistol barrels, caliber barrels. They are available at any length. All you have to do is go to hitmanindustries.net. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you've purchased an AR in the last few years, there's a good chance you already have one of their barrels. So why not get another one? So whether you're looking to rebarrel your old rifle or maybe you're looking to do a brand new build, start your project, start your experience with Hitman Industries. And then we've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all levels of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. In fact, Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Why don't you take a moment and find out why? Just go to cragop.org. That's cragop.org and check them out. If you want to be a part of California's future today, you got to join CRA. And then we've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market. You will find them at hawgholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Spelled kind of funny, but that's because they like helping Americans wear guns. That's right. You want to know how much? They want to so much, they want to give you yours on a discount. So go there, check out their website. When you find the one you want, make sure you use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word, just like it is right up there. Get your hog holster today. And then finally, it's about that time. The weather's changing, which means your gear is probably going to need to change. So go to uscombatgear.com where you can find all things tactical except the gun. Now, they specialize in group sales. So if you're the purchasing agent for your department, for your unit, for your club, folks, go there now. Go there, check them out. They've got a huge selection, they've got competitive pricing, and they've got the best customer service on the market. Go there right now, uscombatgear.com, where you can find all things tactical except the gun. Wanted to start off today with what I consider to be some epic trash talking. And, it's one thing to be winning the war in Iran, which clearly we are. But it's a whole nother thing to be winning and then in the midst of it, also talking trash. And that seems to be exactly what Mr. Hegseth is doing in his little presentation right here.
The last job anyone in the world wants right now? Senior leader for the IRGC, or Besiege. Temp jobs, all of them. And to borrow a page from Admiral Ernest King in World War II, we've decided to share the ocean with Iran. We've given them the bottom half. We've damaged or sunk over 120 of their Navy ships, with battle damage assessments pending for many more. See, oftentimes we have to wait a few days on battle damage assessment to get the real number. Their surface fleet is no longer a factor. Their submarines, they once had 11, are gone. Their military ports are crippled.
Yeah, we've decided to share the ocean with Iran. We've given them the bottom half. United States has sunk more than 120 Islamic Republic ships, Hegseth says. Now, that sounds like a pretty thorough butt kicking. And that doesn't even get into what we've done to their Air Force. It says here, the U.S. military has sunk more than 120 Iranian naval vessels during Operation Epic Fury. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said Tuesday, quipping, "We've decided to share the ocean with Iran. We've given them the bottom half." As the conflict enters its 20th day, much of Tehran's sea power has been eradicated, Hegseth added during a morning briefing at the Pentagon. Quote, we've damaged or sunk over 120 of their Navy ships, with battle damage assessments pending for many more. Hegseth said, noting that the number of ships destroyed is likely to rise in the coming days. Their surface fleet is no longer a factor. The submarines they once had, 11, are gone. The military ports are crippled. The Islamic Republic had a submarine force of about 28 to 30 vessels before Operation Epic Fury began, according to the Nuclear Threat Initiative, meaning the U.S. strikes have taken out about a third of Tehran's fleet. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, who spoke alongside Hegseth, said at least 44 Iranian mine-laying vessels are out of commission, significantly diminished Tehran's ability to choke the critical Strait of Hormuz. U.S. military dropped 5,000-pound penetrator weapons onto underground bunkers, preventing the regime from accessing weapons in its reserves. The bombs fell, quote, into underground storage facilities, storing coastal defense, cruise missiles, and other support equipment, Kane said. So why am I sharing this with you? I am sharing this with you because, let's just be real, there are many people on the left, many people in the mainstream media, many people on the horseshoe right, they call themselves, they think they're America first. They're acting sometimes like America only, and they're really what they're acting like is America haters. But anyway, they all want to convince you that things are going very, very badly in Iran, and they are not, right? Now, I will be the first to admit that when it comes to how well we are doing, President Trump sometimes is known to be hyperbolic. He is known to stretch things, and that's just him. To expect him to be any different would be to expect him not to be him. That having been said, the number of casualties that we have suffered versus the number of casualties that they have suffered, the number of hits that we have taken versus the number of hits that they have taken, it's not even close. I haven't said a thing. I mean, it's not even, right now, it's not even close. The point here being is that, once again, the media wants you to believe that we're losing this war. They want you to believe that because there's the challenges dealing with the Strait of Hormuz, that they want you to believe that, well, this thing has gone all wrong and it's a quagmire. They want you to believe that this is a war that is going to last forever. Folks, we're in our 20th day. 20th. And I'm trying to figure out exactly at what point does this become a forever war? Maybe we need to figure that out. Maybe we need to think about what that is, because until that point, y'all need to shut up. That's just me. Y'all need to shut up. Y'all just need to stop, because by every assessment, we are winning this war. We have taken out multiple layers of their leadership. We are clearly winning this war. And if you listen to Hegseth, if you listen to the president, if you listen to Marco Rubio, if you listen to General Kane, we are well ahead of where we thought we would be. In the very beginning, they said that this would be about a 4 to 6 week uh, entanglement. Uh, I don't know that it's going to be that long. But they're saying right now that it's not going to be that long. They're saying that right now we are ahead of schedule. Anyway, that's the reason why I wanted to share that, was just because I want people to understand we are winning this and we're winning it big. That doesn't mean that necessarily when people say that we don't know why we're there have been a number of reasons why that have already been stated why we are there. And I get frustrated when I hear Democrats say, well, we don't know why we're there. He says this, and then he says this, and then he says this. And I'm like, since when was all of the above not a choice? Yes, they were talking about developing a nuclear weapon. Yes, they are. Yes, they have threatened and paid for acts of terrorism against us and against our allies. They have been the primary funder of those proxies, whether it be Hezbollah, whether it be Hamas, whether it be the Houthis. They're the ones that are supplying them with the resources to attack our ships, to attack our people, to kidnap our people, to inflict terrorism upon us and our allies. Regardless of what anyone says, we may not have been at war with Iran for the last 47 years, but Iran has been at war with the United States for the last 47 years. I know I'm not telling you anything new, but I am telling you things that the mainstream media will not tell you. You know, I get it here. You see, Ronald Aaron Lopez, watching us over on YouTube, said, well, I haven't said I would share anything. I don't know what he means by that. You haven't said that you would share anything, so then don't. But anyway, the point being, and the reason why I point that out is because somebody has been a sharing something, right? Somebody has been, or maybe somebody has been a sharing something, and the one person that they're investigating just happens to be the guy who was running the Department of was it the Department for Anti-Terrorism, right? That's the department that we're talking about. Anyway, here let's talk with We're talking about Mr. Joe Kent, and here's a story from Fox News where they're talking about the fact that he is now under investigation by the FBI.
Sources are saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterror Center, this is from Semaphore, he just resigned. He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. And the investigation predates his departure. Congressman, your reaction to that tonight? Wow.
Well, there's a lot there, and I think that we need to let this investigation play out, but we shouldn't tolerate any leakers in the administration, particularly regarding classified national security interests and information. So we'll let this play out and see where it goes, but if he was leaking, he ought to be held accountable just like anybody else would be.
Well, 5 minutes ago, he seemed...
Well, so now, that was pretty much my sentiment of the whole thing. I mean, let's understand that before joining the FBI, he was part of the, he was basically a MAGA influencer. He ran for Congress. He was a Democrat before joining MAGA and becoming part of the Trump coalition, ran for Congress. Anyway, ran for Congress unsuccessfully. Anyway, but let's read a little bit more from the report here over at Breitbart. It says here, former director of National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, is reportedly being investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigations, or the FBI, for allegedly leaking classified information. Shelley Talbot, White House correspondent for Semaphore, reported that according to 3 sources, Kent, who resigned from his position on Tuesday, is being investigated by the FBI. The alleged investigation predates his departure. In another post, Talcott said, quote, a 4th source also confirmed this. And this is what the report, which he said on Twitter. Joe Kent is under investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. 3 sources told me. I'm told the investigation predates the departure. That's the actual report. It says here, in a post on X on Tuesday, Kent shared that he had, quote, decided to resign from his position, explaining that he could not, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel. And he basically also noted that in a letter to the president. Now, here's the interesting thing. Now, number one, this is a guy who, well, not too long ago, just a couple of years ago, recognized and basically acknowledged that we should probably be going after Iran and going after their ability and basically ending their ability to be able to produce nuclear weapons, and that they were very, very committed. So I don't know what caused his change of heart all of a sudden. Well, what I think it is, here's what I think it is. Now, we've heard there have been a number of times where information has gotten out that shouldn't have gotten out. And it seems to always side on the side of the America. They call themselves America First. They're really kind of isolationist wing of the Republican Party, or not just of the Republican Party. They tend to be isolationists. And there are a number of them in the administration. Probably the best and most visible isolationist is probably the vice president. But, you know, his positions, he has made it very clear. He supports the president and what the president is doing and the direction that the president is going, and believes that what he's doing is correct. But he's probably the most visible of the isolationists that are in the administration. Well, you notice that when there have been leaks, it always seems to be information that would kind of support the position of the isolationists, of the America only wing of the administration. So I don't know. I'm still. What's interesting is, and by the way, Freeman here, Fento pointed this out. Let's see here. He says he's a green. Now, by the way, I do want to make sure to point this out. Thank you, Fenton, for pointing this out. He says he's a Green Beret, did 11 tours, and his wife gave the ultimate sacrifice in 2019. What happened to believing in the American patriots? He's still saying he supports Trump. He just doesn't agree with the war under the false pretense that we're going at it. It just is differing opinion, and the GOP says you are with us. You are either with us or we are against you. Anyway, thanks for sharing that. No, here's the thing. Now, keep in mind, my thing is, I believe that he stepped down because he's under investigation. I don't believe keep in mind, the investigation predates his resigning. What I believe is going on here is he knows he's under investigation. He probably, and once again, I have no information to support this. I am simply guessing that he probably did leak some information, or maybe he told somebody something. He intentionally or unintentionally, he probably had a conversation or gave some information to somebody that he shouldn't have, and it wound up being public. My guess is that now he's taking this position because, well, he has to make it seem like, well, I'm down for the cause, right? This is a guy who was a Democrat before, before he became MAGA. And I think he fell into the thing that I think a lot of Trump supporters, or some Trump supporters, did, in that they thought that he was an isolationist, and he's not. The reality is that President Trump is a to be honest, MAGA is a moving target. What he does is he looks at things, he analyzes, and if he sees a need to pivot, he pivots. This is a situation where he's always believed that Iran has been a problem. Iran is at their weakest. Iran has made it very clear in the negotiations just recently. Now, whether or not you believe they had the ability to produce nuclear weapons, they clearly went out of their way to express that they had the ability to do it. And one of my beliefs has always been when someone tries to tell you who they are, believe them. I do not believe that this is something that we got dragged into by Israel. I definitely believe that this is something that is in our best interest. Not, by the way, just because of our relationship with Iran. Because they're the number one provider of oil to China. They're the number one provider of oil to Cuba. I mean, in terms of geopolitics and America's place in geopolitics, this elevates the United States and puts us on a much stronger footing. And literally the only reason why we are looking at more expensive gas prices right now, which, by the way, folks tend to be, they didn't seem to be upset when it was over $5 a gallon nationwide under Joe Biden, but now all of a sudden they care about gas prices. They didn't care about it when they were bumping up the cost of gas here in California, but now all of a sudden they care about gas prices. But the only reason is because of the Strait of Hormuz. And, you know, are they having problems there? Yeah. They got to figure that out, no doubt. But trust me, they will figure it out. And when they do, the oil will flow, gas prices will come down. But there was a definite interest in doing this. Now, I have no problem with people who are with the more isolationist wing of the party, because I think they keep us honest, right? I think it's important that they keep that we don't just get involved in random entanglements. And I think, and I believe their involvement in the Trump administration is important because I don't believe Donald Trump would get involved in something meaningless, in something that really didn't have a direct effect on the United States, in part because of their input. So if they've taken that input, if he's taken that input and he's still got involved in this, well, can you give him a little credit that maybe he knows what he's doing? Just maybe? I mean, I'm only looking at this from the perspective of not that I agreed with Donald Trump when he first got elected, not that I've agreed with everything that he's said, but when I look at his record, in particular when it comes to international politics, right? The way he's engaged on the international scene, he's been right a lot more than he has been wrong. So, whether you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, or you believe that what he's doing is right, I mean, come on, cut the brother some slack, and stop with the Israel is wagging the dog. I'm sorry, look, Israel is not even in the top 10, or Israel-related organizations or individuals are not even in the top 10 of political givers for either the president or most of Congress. They are not. In fact, many of those of the Jewish persuasion who do give more to Democrats than they do to Republicans. So if you honestly believe that the tail is wagging the dog, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, not buying that one. I'm just not buying that one. I also, though, by the way, don't happen to believe that Israel needs our permission to do anything. If anything, what Trump has done that's different than Democrats is, took the leash off. Said, y'all do what y'all got to do. Although he did come back and say, hey, man, no, don't bomb the oil reserves. don't bomb. Leave the oil reserves alone. Leave the oil reserves alone. Let's see. Freeman is back here. He says, I believed Trump. I believe that we did anything out at the time. Isolationism, yes. Looks to me like the same old, all but way back Bush. Well, here's the thing. You're a lot older than me. Well, I don't know how old you are. I'm 57, so I'm no spring chicken. I'm a Gen Xer, not a boomer though. Not quite old enough to be a boomer. What I will tell you is this: the telltale sign of whether or not this is Bush or not, or this is the exporting of America or nation building, is going to be time. Now, you can either believe him when he says we're not going to be there for the long term, that this is not going to be a long-term quagmire the way that Iraq or Afghanistan were, or you cannot believe him. I happen to believe him. So we shall see, though. I could be wrong. You could be wrong. I'm just saying I'm not going to assume that he's lying or that he's wrong. I'm just not going to assume that he's wrong. And some be, well, too easy, too quick to claim that he is in fact wrong. All right, moving right along now. New York banned from snooping on social media for CCWs, and that's right. See, one of the things that New York wanted to do was they wanted to actually look at your concealed carry. They wanted to look at your social media to determine whether or not, based on your social media, whether or not you were worthy of being able to exercise your right to bear arms outside of your home. Well, this being written by Carrie Sloan over at Bearing Arms. Triumph for Liberty, New York ban from snooping on social media for concealed carry permits. In a landmark victory for the Second Amendment and personal privacy, the Gun Owners Foundation has secured a permanent injunction against New York's intrusive or invasive requirement that concealed carry permit applicants disclose their social media accounts. This development marks a decisive blow against one of the most overreaching provisions of the state's post-Bruen gun control law. For the first time, New York's sprawling bureaucracy is legally barred from demanding access to citizens' online lives simply because they seek to exercise their constitutional right to bear arms. The case, and Antoniuk versus James, formerly Antoniuk versus Hochul, filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of New York, challenged multiple facets of the Concealed Carry Improvement Act passed in 2022 as a defiant response to the Supreme Court's landmark New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen decision. The CCIA was New York's attempt to reimpose restrictions after the High Court struck down the state's proper cause requirement for carrying permits. Among its egregious elements, applicants were mandated to provide a list of personal social media accounts from the past 3 years. Once submitted, licensing officers were empowered to scour posts, likes, and comments to determine good moral character. Clearly a vague standard ripe for abuse. And that's exactly what it was all about. So in other words, if you had said, I'm going to resist the government, I shall not comply, well, then bam, you would be determined as someone who is not worthy of good moral character, since you are going to defy the government on laws. How do they know you're going to do it? Because you said it on your social media account. If you made a claim that you'd like to see a particular politician strung up, well, once again, you would be considered a person of not good moral character. If you were engaged in an online debate with someone and you said something that could be taken as a threat, even if it weren't really a threat, like I always say, the one problem with social media is it's gotten people used to being disrespectful without getting punched in the mouth. Well, people might say, well, see there, he's threatening people. He's saying you were disrespectful, so he's going to punch you in the mouth. And you're going to sit there and tell me that there are not people who are looking for reasons to make sure people don't get access to the right to bear arms, right? This is a clear violation of a person's First Amendment rights because, and it's not so much the access, it's the fact that they want to use that access to find reasons to remove your to violate your Second Amendment rights. And that is not cool. That is not good. You should be able to voice your opinions. You should be able to say what it is that you want to say without fear of your comments being either misconstrued or misrepresented, because that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to do the best they can to try and misrepresent what it is that you have to say. By the way, going back real quick, Freeman Fenton said, he hopes he's wrong. He thinks Trump is going to be Trump. I mean, he thinks Trump is going to be the same, but he hopes he's wrong. And I hope you're wrong too. I would say this, your concerns are not baseless. I just think maybe premature. How about that? How about that one? We have Todd from 2A in Florida. Todd, thank you so much for tuning in. Very much appreciate you tuning in from the Gunshine State. But yeah, these folks in New York, man, once again, they're looking for reasons. See, gun grabbers are looking for reasons to take away your right to keep and bear arms. And that's why all of your other rights become suspect. Your right to private property, your free speech rights in this particular case become suspect. Your right against unreasonable search and seizure, your right to due process. Because, see, they're afraid that you're going to exercise your right to keep and bear arms. And the worst part about all of it is the people that we all really know should not have guns, that we do not want to have guns, they are subject to none of this because they're not going to go to a gun store. They're not going to go to an FFL. They're not going to go through the legal process of obtaining a firearm. There is a reason why over 90%, it's somewhere like 96% of the firearms that are determined to be crime guns are not in the possession of the person who actually is the listed owner of that gun, the person who originally purchased it. That's because they're usually stolen. They're oftentimes they are straw purchases. These are people who've gotten these firearms illegally because they plan on using them for illicit and illegal purposes. So all of these things that they're talking about doing, and now they're saying you have to have that in order. For example, in this particular case, criminals are going to carry a gun if they want to carry a gun. They don't care. There's a reason why people who have concealed carry permits are among the most law-abiding. Because they're bothering to go and get permission to exercise a right. They shouldn't have to do that, but they do. They're willing to because they want to follow the law. They are, by definition, law-abiding. Anyway. New York. Get a rope. Anyway, moving on to our next story. Records show, this is in California, records show 89 hospice companies at one LA office plaza. We were talking about this yesterday. The reporter, Mr. I think his name is Nick Shipley, decided that he was going to go ahead and do he started doing investigations here in the state of California. And lo and behold, let's just say that he's discovered a bunch of stuff. Well, CBS News decided that they were going to look into some stuff as well. And guess what? They found some stuff. This being reported by CBS News, right? Now, I want to say CBS News once again, because, you got Barry Weiss over there who now has got them actually reporting on the news without political agenda. It says your state records show 89 hospice companies at one Los Angeles office plaza. We went to look for ourselves. It says here the Marabi Professional Medical Plaza, a 3-story, 32,000 square foot stucco and glass office building in Los Angeles, is home to a salon, a law office, a modeling agency, a realty corporation, and also 89 licensed hospice companies. Patient advocate Sheila Clark, who has worked to expose allegations of widespread Medicare fraud in the hospice industry, calls this building ground zero for the issue. Quote, this particular building I noticed. I'm having, dang, how can there be that many licensed and certified hospices in one tiny little building? Clark said. The building is among the most extreme cases of what's known as clustering. To turn up a sweeping CBS News investigation, a grouping of large numbers of hospice offices that state auditors consider a major red flag for potential fraud. The Van Nuys address for Merabi Plaza appears dozens of times in state records for licensed hospice companies. Inside the building's entry hall, a directory lists numerous hospice agencies that line the long tiled hallways along the building. The building's owner claims many are no longer there. Clark said it makes, quote, no sense to find so many licensed and certified hospice company offices operating inside a single building. Auditors said the clustering of so many firms raised concerns because it suggested that the number of agencies in these areas likely exceeds the number of patients who need services. Concerns about clusters appear in a 2022 California State Auditor's report, which found the Los Angeles County had experienced a 1,500% increase in hospice companies county-wide since 2010. That's 6 times more hospice providers than the national average relative to the county's elderly population. Now, I'm pointing this out to you because once again, we've got the dude from Minnesota who came in and went to Minnesota and uncovered $9 billion. He ain't been here but a couple of weeks, and now he's already uncovered several hundred million. And the state you got CBS News now is talking with folks, and if there's 89 of these in one place, you got to figure they're now into well over the hundreds of millions of dollars. Once again, folks, this is the tip of the iceberg. This is just the beginning. This is just the very tip of the camel's nose under the tent. Heck, I'm sorry, J.D. Vance hasn't even made it here yet, right? J.D. Vance and his new effort hasn't even started in California yet. This is not going to look good for California. This is not going to look good for Gavin Newsom. This is not going to look good for the city and county of Los Angeles or San Francisco or Alameda or San Diego. It's not going to look good for the Democratic-controlled monopoly in the state of California because they run everything. They run it all. And I'm willing to bet you that when push comes to shove, you're not only going to find that those that those communities have been guilty of giving into or not addressing waste, fraud, and abuse, but I'll bet you dollars to donuts it's going to come back to campaign contributions. I'll bet you a whole lot of campaign contributions, not just campaign contributions, but campaign contributions to some of their favorite nonprofits is also going to come under question. Not saying, just saying. All right, folks, well, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, and get your Hog Holster on discount. All right, all of our parting shots today are going to be brought to you by Babylon Bee, the fake news that you can trust. This first one here, California celebrates the installation of a single LA trash can that cost $400 billion and took 18 years to build. They're calling it high-speed waste disposal installation. Folks, if you knew how hard it was to get anything done in the state of California because of the bureaucracy and the taxes and the lawsuits, trust me, you would cringe because that's pretty darn close to the truth. Next here, Gavin Newsom's 10 biggest accomplishments. Let's see what they are here. Let's see. 1, defying all expectations, he learned to read. Successfully ran multiple billionaires out of the state. Yes, he has. Matter of fact, we've lost about 1.3 to 1.5. Last I saw, $1 trillion in wealth has left the state of California. Successfully ran. Oh, I already did that one. Drastically lowered crime rates by just not prosecuting anything anymore. Well, yeah, because we took everything that was a felony and called it a misdemeanor, everything that was a misdemeanor, and we turned it into an infraction and let people out of jail. So yeah, that works. By the way, Kamala also gets some credit for that. Helped keep the struggling French Laundry restaurant afloat during the pandemic. Well, I don't know that he gets to count that because I'm pretty sure he ate there for free. Cleared out a ton of clutter in the Pacific Palisades. Oops. A fire reference. Reduce homeless population by negative 400%. That means he increased it. Anyway, made California's education system third overall. Okay. Oh, sorry, dyslexia again. 30th overall. Yeah, no, we're worse than that. Increased the state's oil production. That's with his hair, of course. Mentored the greatest politician California ever produced, Kamala Harris. Right. Did not ban satire, although he did try. Then, well, here's another good one. Democrats fear higher gas prices could affect Molotov cocktail production. Oh, that's funny. And then finally, Kevin the janitor, now the most senior military official in Iran. All fun stuff. Gotta love the Babylon Bee. Like I've said it now and I'll say it again. If you do not subscribe to the Babylon Bee, you need to, because they are hilarious. And I want to see those. I want to see those cool headlines keep coming. All right, folks, well, that brings us to the end of our show. But before we go, we're going to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors. We've got Hitman Industries rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to purchase. HitmanIndustries.net. We've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all level of government, school board all the way up to President of the United States. We've got Hog Holsters. Get your Hog Holster, the best concealed carry tactical holster available on the market at hogholster.com. And then we've got the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun, and that would be at uscombatgear.com. All right, folks, once again, that's going to be it for today. I will be back tomorrow on Free for All Friday. Till then, y'all have fun. Stay safe. I will see you mañana.